that particular photograph actually comes from Lake Superior Provincial Park. And the story of how I took it is kind of a funny one. My husband chose that trail, and without me even noticing, he chose the trail that was marked extremely, very difficult, like should only be attempted by those who really know what they're doing. And he looked on the map and said, oh, it doesn't look that far. But what he didn't realize is that it wasn't that far because it's straight up a cliff and then down a cliff and then straight up a cliff and down a cliff. And so that took us about 6 or 7 hours to reach that campsite. And we arrived just at sunset, and he was unpacking, and I was looking at the colors over Lake Superior, and I said to him, okay, you have to take over because I'm going to get these shots. And so what I love about that photograph is that the beach is a very distinctive color of purplish mauve. That's very unusual, and it's something that you really only see at Lake Superior Provincial Park because the shoreline is so rocky and so pebbly. So that is one of my reference photos, and for those who are interested in participating in the landscape course, then they can just go online, they can download it from my webpage and on my Facebook page, and they'll be able to get their own copy so that they can use that as a reference. I have to say that when I first started and when I was a novice or a beginner, that whenever I made a mistake, I truly thought it was the end of the world, and I would be devastated. But now I accept mistakes and, things that should be adjusted as an inevitability. So it's almost like performing tweaks on something. And so like when you think, for example, of your car and you bring it in because something's not working, it's so frustrating when a mechanic just tightens a bolt and then it's working perfectly. And sometimes that's actually what happens with paintings, is that there's just a subtle adjustment that needs making. When we're going through that process of making mistakes and experimenting and trying to find a new way to make the painting work, sometimes it can be incredibly frustrating because something's not right, but you're not really sure what. And so part of my job is to sort of walk you through that and also help you to develop your diagnostic skills. And so when you're looking at a painting saying, I don't like this, what you're actually telling me is not that you don't like the painting, but that you've targeted and identified specifically for you what isn't working. So I sometimes hear, well, my sky is too blue or my clouds aren't fluffy enough. Well, that's what you're identifying as needing a little bit of an adjustment. And that's where I come in. And if you're watching it live with me, then I can sort of help you troubleshoot that on your own. But if you need some support on top of that, then you can always find me through my page, and I do answer questions somewhat regularly. I absolutely love hearing people tell me that they have discovered a part of themselves or a skill that they didn't know that they possessed. And so it is actually this, not to sound too fluffy about it, but it is sort of a journey of self-discovery. And like you say, that process of accepting mistakes as part of your painting journey, that can sort of translate into other parts of your life. So I've heard a lot of people saying that now that they've discovered art, they have more confidence to try their own pieces. They feel a lot more capable when they're taking on a different project that's not necessarily one of my paintings, but something that they've always wanted to do. And so I really, really like that sort of tandem self-development and artistic development that happens at the same time, and that I get to be a part of that.